In the late Ming Dynasty, China was a land of grandeur and uncertainty. The empire stretched vast, with bustling markets, towering pagodas, and scholars in pursuit of wisdom. Yet beneath the surface, corruption lingered, wars loomed, and the weight of destiny pressed heavily upon ordinary lives. It was in this world that Liao Fan was born, a world where fate was believed to be unshakable, carved by the heavens. Liao Fan was not born into wealth nor into privilege. His family lived in modest simplicity, bound to the quiet rhythm of village life. His father passed away when he was still young, leaving only duty and the steadfast strength of his mother. From his earliest years, hardship was his companion. Yet so too was discipline. In the silence of humble nights, he turned to books, searching for meaning, unaware that his life would one day test the very boundaries of fate itself. Before his passing, Liao Fan's father held one final wish, that his son would study the art of medicine, not for wealth nor for position, but to ease the suffering of the people. Yet after his father's death, it was his mother who bore the burden of choice. Though she honored her husband's wish, she saw another path. For in those times, the way of a scholar and official was the road to honor and stability, a path to raise the family's name. One day, word spread through the village of a fortune teller renowned for his accuracy, whose predictions never failed. Curiosity stirred within the young Liao Fan. Though cautious, he could not resist the call of destiny. He walked to meet the man, unaware that this encounter would leave an imprint on his life and shape the course of his future. Before trusting the man's words, Liao Fan tested him with a question of the past. The fortune teller spoke calmly, yet with a precision that startled him, describing events already lived, moments only he himself could have known. Every detail was exact, leaving no space for doubt. From that moment, Liao Fan's heart wavered. If the past could be spoken with such clarity, then the future too might be bound in those words. The fortune teller gazed at him, his voice calm, yet heavy with certainty. Your path is not that of medicine, but of the imperial court. At 20, you shall pass the first examination. At 25, you will succeed in the provincial exam and earn your first minor post. At 28, another promotion awaits. But by 30, your rise will end. The heavens grant you no higher rank. Still, you will succeed as an official, bringing stability and honor to your family name. Yet, though you take a wife, you shall remain without an heir, and your final breath will come at 53. Each word fell like stone upon Liao Fan's heart, a destiny carved by heaven, unyielding and final. After the prophecy, Liao Fan spoke with his mother, though he himself did not fully believe, for nothing had yet come to pass. The words of the fortune teller left an undeniable mark. His mother, however, saw it differently. To her, the prophecy was not a burden, but a confirmation. This is the path you must walk, she said, not medicine, but scholarship. Through learning, you shall enter the examinations, and through service, bring honor to our family. Thus, while doubt lingered in Liao Fan's heart, his mother's resolve grew firm, and she pushed him toward the life of a scholar. With the weight of the prophecy still in his heart, Liao Fan turned to his mother. Her words were steady, her resolve unshaken. "This is the path you must follow," she told him, "not medicine, but scholarship. Through study, you will enter the examinations, and through service, bring honor to our family. Though his heart carried doubt, Liao Fan could not deny her strength. From that day, he laid aside the art of healing and devoted himself to the life of a scholar, a new path shaped by destiny and sealed by his mother's will. In the years that followed, one by one, the words of the fortune teller came true. At 20, Liao Fan passed his first examination, exactly as foretold. At 25, he succeeded in the provincial exam, earning his first official post. At 28, a promotion came just as predicted. Each success should have filled him with joy, yet in his heart a shadow grew. For every fulfilled prophecy was not freedom, but a chain, binding him closer to a fate he could not escape. Not long after, as the prophecy foretold, Liao Fan took a wife. The wedding was modest, yet filled with warmth. For a time, he tasted the comfort of companionship and the quiet joy of a home. But in the silence of night, the fortune teller's words would return to him. "You shall take a wife, but remain without an heir." Though he lived with affection and duty, a shadow lingered, the weight of a future without a son to carry his name. Years passed after his marriage, yet no child was born. One by one, the fortune teller's words had come true. The examinations, the promotions, even the silence of an heir, all unfolded as foretold. And so a heaviness grew in Liao Fan's heart. If every prophecy had proven true, then what of the last? The thought of dying at 53 cast a long shadow over his days. Though he continued his duties with strength, in the quiet of night, despair slowly crept into his soul. In his despair, Liao Fan often sought silence in the courtyards of an old temple. One afternoon, as he sat in quiet thought beneath the wooden beams of a weathered gazebo, his heart heavy with the weight of destiny, a sound broke the stillness, the slow sweep of a broom across ancient stone. An old monk, humble in his robes, was sweeping the courtyard. Noticing the young man lost in thought, he paused, and with a gentle smile he spoke. "Young man, why do you sit as though your life were already over?" The old monk looked upon the young man with gentle eyes. "Why do you sit as though life has already ended?" he asked. Liao Fan sighed and told him of the prophecy, how every step of his life had been foretold, how success and failure, even the age of his death, were all carved in words he could not escape. The monk listened, then slowly shook his head. "If fate cannot be changed," he said softly, "why did the sages of old teach that virtue transforms destiny? Your life is not a prison written in stone. It is a mirror reflecting your deeds, your choices. Change your heart, change your actions, and the course of your life will surely change as well." The monk's words struck deep, shaking the foundation of everything Liao Fan had believed. "If you wish to change your destiny," Yungu said, "you must first begin with yourself. Examine your heart, find your faults, and correct them. Do good without expectation, for every act of virtue plants a seed that will reshape your future, and when you have done all that you can, let go and walk with peace, unbound by fear or desire." These teachings burned into Liao Fan's mind. For the first time, he saw a path beyond prophecy, a way not of resignation, but of transformation. From that day, Liao Fan resolved to change his life. He began each morning with reflection and each night with self-examination. Guided by the monk's wisdom, he laid down 4 lessons to live by. First, set your intention. Without a higher purpose, a man drifts like a boat without a sail. Second, correct your faults. To see one's errors clearly is the first step toward freedom. Third, accumulate virtue. No act of kindness is ever wasted. Each becomes a seed of new destiny. And fourth, let go of attachment. Do your utmost, then release the outcome to heaven, walking in peace, without greed, without fear. These lessons became his compass, and from them, his destiny began to change. With his new resolve, Liao Fan no longer saw office as privilege, but as a chance to serve. As a government official, he devoted himself to the people, reducing burdensome taxes, settling disputes with fairness, supporting schools and the education of poor children. Wherever he was assigned, order and kindness followed. No longer a prisoner of fate, he became a servant of virtue, using his position not to enrich himself, but to bring relief to those who suffered. Years passed, and as Liao Fan devoted himself to virtue and service, the chains of prophecy began to loosen. One night, a cry filled his home. His wife had given birth to a son. They named him Tianqi, and in that moment, the heaviest of prophecies was broken. The fortune teller had once declared he would remain without an heir. Yet here, in his arms, was living proof that destiny could be changed. Tears filled Liao Fan's eyes. For the first time, he no longer feared the future. He had rewritten it with his own deeds. The final prophecy had spoken of death at 53. As the years passed, Liao Fan awaited that shadow. Yet when the fated age arrived, he still lived. He had a son by his side and the honor of a family restored. The prophecy that once bound him was shattered. Liao Fan lived not to 53, but well beyond 69 years. Each day a testament that destiny is not a prison, but a reflection of the heart and the deeds we choose. From a man once bound by prophecy, Liao Fan became the author of his own destiny. Through reflection, he found clarity. Through correcting faults, he found strength. Through acts of kindness, he rewrote his fate. And through letting go, he found peace. He lived beyond the years foretold, raised a son against all odds, and left behind a legacy of virtue. His teachings, known as the 4 Lessons of Liao Fan, continued to echo across centuries, reminding us all that destiny is not fixed. It is shaped day by day by the choices we make.
Once I walked with chains unseen,